welcome to my channel. Well, I know this is kind of a weird angle for those who have OCD and everything, but it's just the way the tripod will fit up against the table. I was going to use the bendy thing again, but I always bump into it and it shakes. Of course, the tripod can still shake. But anyway, what we have here is an interesting way to get knives. Now, these are knife seconds that are sold on eBay. This is the way Toby gets these, and these were sent to me by Toby and family. And oh, see, here I am talking about how the bendy thing bumps around, and I catch the tripod with the heel of my foot. All right, so let's try to straighten this out again. There we go, somewhat squared out. All right, so I don't know how much he paid for these, but they're probably less than the original one. But if you don't mind little imperfections, things that can be buffed out and stuff, that's basically what knife seconds are. Now this one, you can see they stamped on the blade second. And the only thing that I can find wrong with the blade itself, you know, I mean, they started to do the grind, but is just a little bit of pitting here in the metal. If you look at this, there's just a little bit of metal pitting. That would be enough to reject a knife. Is that going to bother you? You know, I mean, if you're going to be using this not for show, but for use. Also, the handles, you know, you can polish this stuff up. You know, it's just a little bit roughly finished, but the blade is solidly in there on the handle. The blade shape itself, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, like I said, I've received knives with worse pitting than that were brand new and sold to me as new. So, I mean, you've got that going for you. But they're made in USA, and this is a kind of a camp knife a lot of times people would use. They would take something that was basically like a kitchen knife, and they wouldn't necessarily go beating wood with it and everything. And it tells you right here on this one, yeah, sharp blades and all that. Improper use, chiseling, ice picking. These are all things all of us have been guilty of using a knife before, have probably done. It says don't do it with this one. Prying, applying force into the back end of the blade, that's like batoning right there. Or contact may result in injury. Always keep blades away from fingers and body. Do not use if damaged, you or the blade. Or blade is loose, or apply force onto the back of the blade. Handle with care. If not in use, store in a safe place. Keep out of reach of children. So this is how they come. They don't come with a sheath or anything. They're kind of like a kitchen knife. And it's good to save these little sleeves, because if you do go to work on the handle, this is a good way to just kind of like hold it in a vise without... I'm not really worried about marring a blade on this, but it has a really decent blade shape to it. You know, it's got that little clip point, buoy style type of thing. It raises up. It's got a little style for, you know, kind of a kitchen knife. Securely held together. So that's one of them. I mean, I'm sure you're paying less, and these are not super expensive knives. So all you got to do is just sand anywhere area where you don't like it, and maybe restain the wood if you want, or varnish it, or whatever you want to do to it. And yeah, and sharpen it. It has a good bevel. Pretty good bevel. I mean, it got a little bit, but it stays consistent. Usually, like I said, when you get to the tip, things tend to widen out anyway. Yeah, this bevel over here is a little slightly uneven. Nothing we couldn't fix, like that big scimitar kind of looking thing there. So that's this one, which it's not going to take much to fix it up. I mean, for me, I would use it just like that. I wouldn't worry about it. On this one, the handle right here, is, you can see that, it just needs to be polished. On the blade itself, man, I don't see any pitting. It doesn't have a second on this one. There might be a little corrosion or something that was potentially happening up there, but man, I don't see why somebody would say this blade is no good. And you can see it's kind of a cast metal effect going on in there, or stamped or something, because you can see that kind of a hollow. That's the way a mold does. A lot of times when you're molding bullets and stuff, it'll leave a little gap, a little indentation when the metal cools. You can see it more predominantly down here. Now you could sand these handles down to where the tang is flush with this and you don't feel a gap, you know, if that's what you want. But it doesn't feel bad this way. Really, all these things would really need to do is to be sharpened, you know, sharpened and sanded a little bit on the handles. So these are pretty cool. And then if you're going to carry it around, let's see what kind of blade length we got here. We got a pretty decent blade here. It's like a 6-inch blade, 6-inch cutting edge. And 10.5 inches overall length, or 265 millimoids. Yeah, it feels pretty good in the hand too. These are cool. So one of them is going to stay in the kitchen with the roach belly wound up in the kitchen too, because that's a good size. But this is a pretty good overall food prep type of thing. Let me see. Food prep, you know, you wouldn't necessarily go batoning trees and everything. Zero yourself. I said zero. Stupid thing. All right. So it's got a 1.8 millimeter back spine, almost 2 millimeter. It widens up to 2 millimeter up here. Just gets a little thinner towards the handle. But towards the tip, it gets a little wider. Weird. But yeah, it's almost 2 millimeter, 1.8. That's not absolute. Quit that messing around with my calipers. Would you stop that? 0.075 inch. Right. Get up there. Back in your holder. So there you go. I like I said, I don't think it's going to be super sharp. Not bad. Look at that, man. I haven't touched these things for like sharpening. It's pretty damn sharp out of the box. Alright. Cut his wrist off. Oh yeah, it'll cut hair. I'd strop it though. It's doing a little pulling. Yeah, it's a little rough in there. You could hear it kind of. All right. Of course, it's a fixed blade, and you may run into hobos. Oh man, not very far at all. Yeah, the advanced hobo armor stopped this sucker. Oh, I got him. I had to turn it sideways. Got a little penetration. Yeah, it's surprised what. Penetration with knives. You look at knives and you look at a tip and you'd say, "Wow, that would be good for penetration." When in reality, your trusty old regular old pocket knife is usually pretty wicked on advanced Toby armor. I don't know why we're getting into this. Oh, man. Excuse me. Ta-da! Oh, see? You stopped them. Depends on how you do it. You got to go against the grain or with the grain. I guess it doesn't matter. Ooh, that was a good one. Look at that. And I'm only pulling like about. Let me measure. We'll be scientific. I got to see how far away I. Yeah, I'm only pulling about like 4, maybe 5 inches away from the target. You know, and just going forward with not a super strong thrust, just like that. Not like where you go, you know, you're trying to go through the can and the other side, which is what you would want to do if you were being attacked by a hobo with advanced hobo armor. But anyway, I don't know why we got off into that. But yeah, there you go. These are Ontario models, and I think you just take the X off, and you would get a non-second one. So it's probably OH5075. And I don't know how much, like I said, I'm sure you get a pretty good discount on these because they're seconds. And the blade seems to be fairly straight. I want to put it on the table here. Yeah, the blade's not bent. Where did I set my ruler? I don't know. Anyway, there you go. These are pretty cool. I don't... Man, have you ever had that happen to you? You're just... Oh, there it is. You were just using something and you can't find it. I was going to use the ruler to check the... This is not a super flat ruler, but look at that, man. I can't see anything. Like, we're not getting, like, bent blades out of this. Nothing. These are... That's a pretty good deal. I typed in on eBay, Ontario Knife Company seconds, or factory seconds, or something like that. And I couldn't find any. I couldn't find any with this blade shape, or so I don't. Like I said, I don't know what dealer he was using on that. And I threw the package away and threw the trash out. But anyway, there you go. So it's a nice way of like if you've got something like a polisher, you know, like a buffer, which I've got now, or a sander, or even on stuff like this, you can just hand finish it with emery cloth. You know, sandpaper that's in a cloth, and just start off with like probably 300 grit or so, and work your way up to finer stuff, and then hit it on a buffing wheel if you want to really polish it. But most times these are made to be, you know, made to be used. They're knives. They're made to be used. It's a tool, you know. You can make them a piece of art and everything, but that's up to you. I mean, you know, like people would always customize their, in the Old West, they would customize their stuff with leather pouches, and the Indians would put rivets and stuff, or nail heads, you know, tack them in on their rifles to make patterns and stuff, just to decorate it, you know. So if you had something that you've made on your own or customized, then you can tell it between this knife and that knife. You know, one of them is going to be just like every other knife you can buy, and the other one is your knife. So there you go. I've rambled on long enough. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.